Coming up on our newscast tonight. The home team starts things off on a high note at the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, winning gold over the weekend. Aside from the competition, various cultural events leave visitors spoiled for choice. North Korea's top officials and artists return home after setting a positive tone for future inter-Korean ties with a flurry of performances and diplomatic activities in South Korea. From short track to figure skating, a lot of exciting events are lined up for tonight. Expectations are especially high as the joint Korean women's ice hockey team bring their A game to ice again to face Sweden. NEWSCENTER begins now. It's 8 p.m. on a Monday here in Korea, live from our studio in Seoul. This is Arirang News Center. Welcome to our program. I'm Daniel Che. The Winter Olympics is more than just a venue for spectators to witness athletes competing at the highest level. The host nation has so much more to offer. Experience the cultures of the participating countries, savor their unique flavors, and try your hands at some winter sports, perhaps. Lee Ji-won starts us off from the Alpine City.
Near the Pyeongchang Olympic Plaza, the host province of Gangwon-do has set up the Pyeongchang Festival Park, where visitors can enjoy culture from around the world through a range of daily, almost hourly events. The Act on Stage corner puts on rich cultural performances throughout the day, including a jazz band, traditional Korean storytelling, and more. On Sunday, taking to the stage was a Chinese circus. They had their audience mesmerized not only with their flashy acrobatics, but also with Chinese cuisine.
It's great. I'm glad that they're doing that because it gives us an opportunity to see more than just the sports, but to actually understand the culture a little bit more. Now we want to see more.
And at the International Food Corner, chefs from Europe, Asia, and the Americas lured in visitors with the scent and taste of a huge array of dishes from their home countries. In the spirit of the Olympics, the food corner welcomes visitors from all across the world. But as the famous saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, many visitors chose to try some Korean food first.
And so we came over here and saw all the food, and we wanted to, try the different dishes. Never had Korean food before, and now we've come back today to try some other things.
It's a feast for the eyes and the taste buds in Gangwon-do, but there are also lots of winter activities like sledding at the Daegwallyeong Snow Festival.
Despite the bone-chilling temperature, many climbed up the snowy hill to enjoy the speed and feel the wind on their faces, becoming winter sports athletes themselves.
We saw that this place has a snow festival being held, and so we dropped by to ride some sleds. It was really fun, and it kind of gives us a feeling that we're all part of the Olympics.
To truly make the Pyeongchang Olympics a cultural Olympics, dozens, even hundreds of cultural events, big and small, are lined up in Pyeongchang and Gangneung throughout the month, many of which are free. More information on the events is online at the Cultural Olympiad website. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News, Pyeongchang.
The visiting arts troupe from Pyongyang return home after completing their show in the south. Kwon Jang-ho provides a recap of the noteworthy happenings during the first North Korean performance in the nation in more than a decade.
With a smile and a wave, the North Korean arts troupe made its way back home to the north. The 137-member group crossed the inter-Korean border at the western checkpoint in Paju 6 days after they first arrived. During that time, the troupe, known as the Samjion Orchestra, performed twice, once in the Olympic sub-host city of Gangneung and once in Seoul. The group sang a mixture of North and South Korean songs, as well as Western pop and classical music. The performance in the capital was attended by President Moon Jae-in and North Korean officials, and the head of the troupe, Hyun Sung-wol, made a surprise guest performance along with South Korean pop star Seohyun. Both nights passed without incident and were generally well received. The troupe had arrived in South Korea's east coast by ferry, and they were expected to return via the same route. But on arrival, North Korean officials said they needed more fuel to go back. There were concerns in Seoul at how this would affect international sanctions, but after 2 days of unsuccessful negotiations with South Korean officials, the North withdrew its request and decided to send the boat back with just the crew while the art troupe returned via the land route. The art troupe's return did not go ahead without controversy, however. In an embarrassing moment for South Korean officials, a North Korean defector, Kim Yeon-hee, turned up at the border checkpoint, which is meant to be heavily restricted to civilians. Kim, who has previously expressed her desire to return to the North, shouted goodbye to the group and said that she hoped to return as soon as possible, while government officials tried to hold her back. Kim defected to the South in 2011 and renounced her ties to the regime, but has since said she was deceived by a broker and has requested to be repatriated, which Seoul has denied. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
After completing their 3-day trip to South Korea, the high-level delegation from Pyongyang, including Kim Yo-jong, the sister of the regime's leader, returned to the north yesterday as well. Before their departure, President Moon Jae-in and the visiting delegation watched a performance by the regime's art troupe together in Seoul. Here's Park Hyo-jun with a closer look at their exchanges.
The rare and historic 3-day visit of the North Korean delegation to Seoul came to a close as they returned to Pyongyang on a North Korean plane from Incheon International Airport late Sunday night. Their departure came after the high-profile delegation, including Kim Jong-un's powerful younger sister, watched the final concert by the Samjeon Orchestra side-by-side with South Korean President Moon Jae-in. It was President Moon and Kim Yo-jong's fourth close encounter since they first greeted each other during the opening ceremony of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. During the concert, the two sides expressed hope that the momentum of dialogue and reconciliation will continue.
소중한 불씨를 만들어주는 이 불씨를 더 이렇게 키워나가서 정말 획기될 수 있도록 함께
Now that we have set a foundation to exchange opinions and even hold reunions with President Moon Jae-in, I return home with the hope we can meet again.
Kim Yo-jong, who was part of the 22-member delegation led by the ceremonial head of state Kim Yong-nam, was also revealed to be the North Korean leader's special envoy as she delivered a personal letter from Kim Jong-un to the South Korean president on Saturday, when the North's delegation paid a visit to Seoul's presidential office of Cheongwade. The letter contained an invitation for the South Korean leader to visit Pyongyang. Moon responded that he hopes that, quote, the right conditions will be created so that the proposed visit can take place. Before attending the art troupe's performance, the South Korean Prime Minister hosted a luncheon and President Moon's Chief of Staff hosted a farewell dinner for the North Korean delegation. Park Hee-jun, Arirang News.
And when President Moon responded that right conditions will have to be formed for his visit to Pyongyang, many believe the term refers to tight coordination and agreement with Washington. Oh Jung-hee delves deeper into what Seoul should do to keep up this reconciliatory momentum while drawing the U.S. and the communist state to the dialogue table.
Kim Yo-jong's 3-day visit to South Korea as a special envoy left Seoul with some questions about how to continue this rare momentum for dialogue. On behalf of her brother, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, Kim Yo-jong invited South Korean President Moon Jae-in to Pyongyang, to which the president responded that right conditions will have to be created for that to happen. For Seoul, ironing out differences with the U.S. is crucial. Washington's been explicitly wary of Pyongyang's actions, calling them a charm offensive, and it's warned the regime of tougher sanctions in response to its nuclear and missile programs. The U.S. Defense Secretary is also still skeptical about whether the apparent thaw can really lead to results.
Using the Olympics in a way to reduce tension, if that's going to have any traction once the Olympics are over, we can't say right now.
Some see the inter-Korean detente amounting to nothing once Seoul and Washington kick off their joint military exercises in April. Seoul's Unification Ministry says Pyongyang could make an, quote, unprecedentedly dramatic move to improve inter-Korean ties, but whether that would be for denuclearization is not clear.
We believe that the two Koreas share a consensus on improving inter-Korean ties and establishing peace on the Korean peninsula.
South Korea welcomes dialogue with the North, but at the same time believes things have to move at the right pace for the U.S. too. And with Washington firm that it wants to see a sincere attitude from the North towards denuclearization, experts think Pyongyang should be the one that shifts direction.
South Korea should try to get the North to change its stance. There needs to be a discussion between the two Koreas about Pyongyang's denuclearization before Seoul sends an envoy to the North.
Pundits add that Seoul should act as a bridge between the U.S. and Pyongyang, helping both of them satisfy their conditions for talks. But denuclearization, they say, has to be the utmost priority. And in that regard, we could see Pyongyang opening up about what it wants. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
The possibility of an inter-Korean summit is being met with mixed reactions from the National Assembly. While the ruling party welcomes the move, the conservative opposition expressed concerns, emphasizing denuclearization efforts must come first. Kim Min-jae zooms in on the contrasting views.
The ruling Democratic Party of Korea welcomed North Korea's invite for summit talks, calling it an opportunity to improve inter-Korean relations. The party noted that while there are lingering concerns, peace starts from dialogue. It also expressed hope that inter-Korean summit talks could eventually lead to dialogue between Pyongyang and Washington.
If an inter-Korean summit is held, it will go down as the biggest achievement of the Pyeongchang Olympics. We have to work with greater responsibility to prepare and respond carefully to the invitation. We need to persuade our allies so that the summit talks take place with support from the international community.
The Blue House said the talks could take place should the two sides create the right conditions, likely meaning progress on resolving a nuclear standoff and sincere efforts towards denuclearization. However, the main opposition Liberty Korea party was highly critical. Using an Olympics analogy, the party said it's North Korean leader Kim Jong-un who has won the gold medal. The party said the string of discussions that would be needed to prepare for summit talks would only give Pyongyang more time to beef up its nuclear programs and room to get around international pressure and sanctions. It added that talks not based on the premise of denuclearization would be nothing more than sending a delegation to the North to celebrate its nuclear development.
President Moon met with the sister of the North Korean leader 4 times during her 3-day stay here, but not once did he bring up the issue of denuclearization.
The center-right Padam Party was more or less on the same page, saying that what the president should be doing is stepping up sanctions and maximizing pressure while persuading the U.S. not to opt for military action. The party stressed that without solving the nuclear issue, it would be better not to hold talks at all. Kim Min-jae, Arirang News.
Hi, I'm Kim Hae-sung. Passion and competition are in the air on the 3rd day of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. The gold medal for team figure skating went to Canada on Monday. Canadian figure skaters collaborated across a total of 8 events and secured their first gold in this year's Winter Games. The Olympic athletes from Russia and the U.S. won silver and bronze. But the weather in Pyeongchang isn't helping the athletes competing outdoors. Due to high winds, women's alpine skiing has been postponed to Thursday. And there's a picture that's created a buzz today. This was taken yesterday, and you can see 2 North Korean coaches standing in the back cheering for South Korean athlete Kim Eun-ho in his cross-country skiathlon. Now, the first gold medal for South Korea went to short-track speed skater Im Hyo-jun on Saturday. In his debut event, the 21-year-old made an Olympic record of 10.485 seconds in the men's 1,500-meter short-track speed skating. South Korea's Lee Seung-hoon came in 5th Sunday in the 5,000-meter speed skating. First place was taken by Dutch speed skating star Sven Kramer, who finished 6 minutes and 9.76 seconds. And yes, the medal tally as of 8 p.m. Monday, Germany is top of the list with 3 gold medals, 2 from biathlon and 1 from ski jumping. The Netherlands is in second, boosted by its dominance in speed skating. The United States ranks 3rd, and South Korea, the host country of the Games, is 6th with 1 gold medal. More games are coming up, and all eyes are on the United Korea women's ice hockey team, who will be playing against Sweden in about an hour from now at 9:10 p.m. Korea time. It's their second match following the one on Saturday. It will be full of emotions and rare scenes like the cheering squads from North Korea, so don't miss it. Women's speed skating is slated for 9:30 p.m. tonight, with fans from South Korea hoping Do Seon-young can seize a medal. And Tuesday's lineup includes the men's alpine combined team cross-country skiing and the women's 500-meter short track speed skating. That's all I have for our 8 p.m. newscast, and here are the results from today's events.
Thank you for that, Hazel. Moving on to other stories now. The Global Games is also a great opportunity for the host nation to promote the best of its arts and culture to a broader audience. One event designed specifically to serve that purpose is the Pyeongchang 2018 Cultural Olympiad. Our Won Jung-hwan was there to check it out for us.
The Pyeongchang 2018 Cultural Olympiad is underway in Korea's Olympic host cities, offering all kinds of cultural events such as performances, exhibitions, and experience programs. One of the most highly anticipated events is the K-pop World Festa, which will be held every weekend throughout the Olympic period. The first edition was held Saturday, bringing popular Korean singers to the stage at Gangneung Wonju National University and highlighting Korean cultural content for the whole world.
We came here because this is our school. It's really fun and exciting.
We are really excited about it because back home in Malaysia, this event has become so popular, and of course when you tie it to the Winter Olympic, it's really a package that we wanted to see as well.
K-pop has put Korea on the map of global popular culture. Leading K-pop stars are in Gangneung to commemorate the Olympics being held in their home country, to showcase the host country's culture, and to promote the Winter Games.
K-pop stars are some of the greatest celebrities in the world, and I strongly believe that they will be very good representative models and public ambassadors of the Pyeongchang 2018.
The Pyeongchang 2018 Cultural Olympiad seeks to make Pyeongchang a cultural brand as the center of culture, sports, and leisure tourism, and to build legacies that are sustainable even after the Winter Games.
Here at the K-pop World Festa, visitors can feel the heat and enthusiasm of the Pyeongchang 2018's Cultural Olympiad every Saturday until the day before of the closing ceremony. Won Jung-hwan, Arirang News, Gangneung.
Apologies were issued by major media outlets in the United States and the UK. This comes after they provided not only with incorrect information about Korea, but also making insulting and ignorant remarks about the host nation during their Olympic coverage. Park Ji-won has the full story.
British newspaper The Times made some jaw-dropping errors in a photo caption on Saturday. The caption of the photo about the unified Korea flag carried by athletes from the two Koreas during last Friday's opening ceremony incorrectly read that Korea lays claim on an island owned by Japan. The caption contained two glaring mistakes. First, Korea's easternmost Dokdo Island is legally and historically Korean territory, and secondly, they circled Korea's southern resort island of Jeju-do on the flag as the supposed island of contention. The paper apologized about the errors on its website on Sunday. American network NBC also had to apologize after one of its commentators made a highly inappropriate and uninformed comment during the opening ceremony. Joshua Cooper Ramos said because of Japan's 36-year colonial rule of Korea in the early 20th century, quote, every Korean will tell you that Japan as a cultural and technological and economic example has been so important to their own transformation. The outrageous comment not only showed a blatant misunderstanding of the Korean people's suffering during Japan's colonial rule due to various atrocities, including the wartime sexual enslavement of Korean women, but also insulted the network's Korean American viewers and others aware of the region's history. After receiving a flood of complaints, NBC issued an official apology during one of their live shows and another apology in writing in the Washington Post. NBC also says Ramo will not appear on any further Pyeongchang Olympic coverage. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
President Moon Jae-in made a visit to the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology. The Liberal leader was there to deliver a speech at the graduation ceremony. Hwang Ho-jun shares with us his message of encouragement to Korea's next generation scientists.
A total of 957 students graduated on Monday from the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology in Korea's southeast. And they were joined at the ceremony by President Moon Jae-in, who gave a commencement speech offering them some encouragement and pledging the government's support so they can become the next leaders of the fourth industrial revolution and of innovative growth. He urged the graduates to take on challenges and not to fear failure, emphasizing that failure can sometimes be more valuable than success, and it's the driving force behind personal growth. It was President Moon's first commencement speech and his first visit to a university since he was inaugurated last May. According to a Blue House official, UNIST holds a special place in President Moon's heart. In fact, he helped found the institute in 2007 while serving as chief of staff to the late President Roh Moo-hyun. UNIST was the only state-run university in the region at the time and was converted to a national institute in 2015. Before the commencement ceremony, President Moon met with some UNIST students and looked at some of the innovative products made by those receiving startup support from the institute. Some of their innovations include an air purifier, a smartphone holder for bike riders, a wireless communication device for firefighters, and a treatment patch for spinal injuries. President Moon showed great interest and promise to help them achieve their dreams as much as he can. Hwang Ho-jun, Arirang News.
The total assets of Samsung Electronics surpassed the 300 trillion won mark, or the $270 billion mark, as of the end of last year, thanks to a rise in investments and business growth. Industry experts say this is Samsung's first time breaking the threshold since its establishment back in 1969 and represents a roughly 15% rise compared to the end of 2016. The tech titan's assets have grown threefold over the past decade. Meanwhile, Samsung Group Chair Lee Gun-hee is under suspicion of avoiding over $7.5 million in taxes by hiding funds in borrowed name accounts under other executives' names. Korea's underground economy accounted for 19.8% of the country's GDP in 2015, amid government efforts to reduce black market activity. According to an IMF report, the estimated value of the black market economy, including untaxed transactions and smuggling, dipped nearly 10 percentage points from nearly 30 back in 1991. Last February, the Korea Institute of Public Finance said the nation's shadow economy accounts for just 8% of its entire GDP, according to the so-called demand for currency approach, adding that the estimate can change depending on the variables and models used. Time now to turn to our Michelle Bach at the Weather Center for the updates you'll need. Michelle, we began the week under frigid conditions. Are we seeing any improvement before the major holidays we have this week?
Well, yes, Daniel. Just in time for the Seollal or Lunar New Year holiday, the mercury will climb a couple of notches. In fact, temperatures will start rising as soon as tomorrow afternoon. And by Wednesday, the eve of the 4-day Seollal holiday this year, afternoon readings will go as high as 10 degrees Celsius. In the meantime, Chungcheongnam-do, Jeollabuk-do provinces and the mountainous regions of Jeju-do Island are expecting heavy snowfall until tomorrow, while surrounding regions will see less than 5 centimeters of snowfall. Now, temperatures will still be low enough to freeze snow on the road, causing ice and sleet to form, so make sure to take extra precautions when driving. Now, over in Pyeongchang, where the Winter Olympics are well underway, milder temperatures are also expected tomorrow, but strong winds will make it feel colder than the actual readings. Tomorrow morning remains frosty. Now, Seoul starts out at -7 degrees Celsius, Daegu and Busan at -4 and -3 degrees. We'll be warming up into the day with Seoul reaching up to 4 degrees, while Gwangju and Busan peaks up to 7 and 6 degrees. Now this week, mostly clear skies are expected in Seoul and for most of the nation, while temperatures will gradually increase during the day. I'll leave you with the weather conditions around the world.
That's all we have for you in tonight's edition of Arirang News Center. Thank you for staying with us.